Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott, and this is dedicated to all those spirits out there who believe life is meant to be magical and fun. Here we venture to share the very mysteries of self and reality. My purpose is to help light that spark inside of you, to reawaken your sense of fascination and awe towards the world. I'm going to try to help you hack reality and unleash your potential and open unlimited possibilities of wealth, health, and relationships in your life. What is the law of attraction and how does it work? That's what we're going to cover today on the Reality Revolution. I've had a lot of episodes so far, but I have not actually covered the law of attraction. On most of the episodes, I'm assuming that people already understand or know what the law of attraction is and how it works. But I guess sometimes it may not be good to entirely assume. A lot of times I'm talking about concepts and ideas, assuming that people understand it. So I just wanted to dedicate an episode where I just talk strictly about the law of attraction, what I believe it is. I want to explain how it works, and a lot of what we've discussed on this podcast is an underlying explanation of how the law of attraction works on an advanced level. Because a lot of the episodes I've talked about realities and parallel realities, but sometimes that makes it complicated. And a lot of times the how of the way that something works is how it works is not as important as the way it works. The law of attraction is a law that absolutely is working every day, every second, non-stop, no matter if you believe it or not. And oftentimes, the interesting thing is, if you do not believe it, this actually creates a world or universe where you start to lose control. It is such a fine-tuned, complicated, complex, fascinating thing. The law of attraction, I believe, is one of the secrets to life. I believe that it's part of the whole journey that we're on, is understanding this incredible thing. If it was easy, we would all understand and talk about it. Clearly, it's not. There is an art to it. There are law of attraction artists out there that are so good at manipulating the laws of the universe. They have incredible things happening. And the interesting thing is, there's some incredible people out there that don't even know. They've tapped into the secret law of the universe, the law of attraction, and they're still using it. You do not need to know how the law works for it to work. It works all the time, 100% of the time. Hopefully you've gotten a chance to watch the movie The Secret. But I've met a lot of people that haven't seen that movie, and that's a pretty beginning level understanding of The Secret. And I may discuss later on this episode some of the flaws with The Secret. But the bottom line thing that you need to understand is that you create your own reality with your thoughts. And a lot of people will explain that the law of attraction is like attracts like, that you attract things that are similar to you in frequency, energy, and vibration. It's just the way that the physics of the universe works. When we watch particles and the way they're attracted based upon these principles. Similar frequencies, similar vibrations. Some energies simply cannot exist in some levels of vibration. Certain energies can exist in certain vibrations. And the thought, the way that the mind works, understanding that thoughts are things. We've proven it in a lab. I have cited literally hundreds of very, very good studies and statistics that have shown the power of the mind to influence the environment. There has been some incredible research by Dr. Joe Dispenza and Dr. Dawson, and they have shown on numerous levels the way that the power of the mind can change the environment around us. One very interesting, fascinating study by Dawson Church is looking at the radioactive decay of a single item. It's something that they can measure exactly. And by using thoughts and intention, they've been able to slow down the radioactive decay of an item. Intentions have been sent out to items, and there have been noticeable significant changes based on those intentions and thoughts. The research on this is absolutely fascinating. And there's been some great books that you have to read, talking about the power of intention, the intention experiment, the ways that their energy works in the universe, and the power of our thoughts. It's been documented on so many levels. A lot of the research, there's a whole research school studying the power of the mind that has been kind of pushed away by modern science. And, that people treated it like they were quacks. And that's when people were studying psychic phenomenons. And it's very, very powerful. And once you realize, fully understand, and go back and look at your whole life, and you will realize that everything in your life has been created by your mind, your beliefs, and your thoughts. And the power of understanding, once you realize this, it's an ongoing journey to fully understand this, because we're thinking thousands and thousands of thoughts every day. And these thoughts, you might be thinking 5,000 thoughts in a day. So the bottom line of what I've been able to discover, a good guiding rule to start with, is you become what you think about most of the time. But if you think about your thoughts, a lot of your thoughts are based upon underlying subconscious beliefs, and the thoughts that you're thinking may not be just your conscious thoughts. You may be having subconscious thoughts that you're projecting out while you sleep, or even thoughts that you're not even aware of that are also creating your reality. And a lot of people will come to me and say, well, I didn't think about this and this happened. You did. Or at least, on some level, you don't have to think the exact thought of the thing that you created, but at least on some level, you are sharing the same energy and frequency of that thing. So people have noticed this and started to begin to notice this, and some very, very good writers started to write about this observable phenomenon, the power of the mind to create our reality. And a new thought was the paradigm that started to come out in all the way back to maybe 1910. There's some writers that started to talk about this. But there's some really fantastic writers like Napoleon Hill and Wallace Wattles that started to discuss this law of attraction. And that's the first noticeable signs that I see where it's been talked about. So have you used the law of attraction? The answer is, of course, yes. You don't have to rationally be knowing that you're using it. You're using it all the time. And just look around everything that you have. I don't care what your age or situation is. Everything is your choice. Everything around you has been created. Now, this can be difficult a lot of times. It can be, you have difficult people in your life. There's a lot of complexity. When you start to understand that this isn't a law, remember also that everybody else also has this power. And everybody else out there is also attracting and creating their own reality. And we're interacting with each other. So what happens is you're co-creating your reality with everyone else. And so what we've talked about on this podcast, if you keep yourself in isolation without any other variable phenomenon, then it would be a lot easier for you to create your reality. But you're also in competition on some level with other people's thoughts. And so some of the discussions I've had on the reality revolution, we've talked about things like pendulums and understanding group consciousness and those things and how they affect the way that you think. Oftentimes you need to ask yourself, where is this thought coming from? Did I think this thought, or did it come from something else or something else? The power of our thoughts is clearly well known by very large organizations that utilize the very energy of it to keep themselves going, maneuvering, growing. It's very fascinating. And as I said, a lot of people refer to law of attraction as LOA. And if you see that abbreviation, that's probably what it means. And if you already know all this stuff, and I'm assuming that most of you do, if you're listening to my podcast already, then I just want to have this one episode where I can explain it to people that maybe don't know. So the LOA was formalized by the School of New Thought way back when and there's evidence that has been around for many years before that. The law of attraction states that things are alike will attract each other. That's basically it. So if you think positively and you concentrate on positive outcomes, then your thoughts will attract these positive outcomes into your life. You do not have to believe in magic for this to work. At first, when you think and you hear this, it sounds magical. You might even scoff at the idea. You might be a rational scientist who scoffs at the idea of attracting ideas into your life through positive thoughts alone. However, in truth, this has a very practical meaning. And in fact, the law of attraction, as you understand it, as you begin to understand it, recommends very specific ways in which you change your life through actions rather than just thoughts. How do we do this? It's very simple, by transforming your mindset to focus on what you want rather than what you don't have. You will come to view the world in a different way. If you sit and think all day about what you're worried about happening, you start focusing on these bad things that might occur. These bad things tend to happen. But if you spend your time focusing on positive things that you want to happen, it's more likely that those positive things will happen. Each thought that you have brings you closer to your goal or farther away from it. So, using the law of attraction will keep you focused. If you understand it, consciously using it helps keep you focused on ways to improve your life, rather than focusing on roadblocks that maybe simply be perceived rather than true. You have to look around, and if you're one of those people out there that doesn't believe in the law of attraction, that's totally fine. It doesn't matter because it's still working. Why do so many people believe that it's true? Have you asked yourself that? The law of attraction has many practical implications if it is true. Is there a part of you that's afraid that it's true? It directs you to do very specific things if you want to change the course of your life once you understand it. And this is precisely why so many people believe it is true. Not only does it confirm what they have always believed to be true, but after they put it into practice, they see the positive results that it has, and these results transform their lives. Indeed, it is the tangible, palpable progress that people experience once they understand and begin to adopt law of attraction techniques and ideas that makes people such strong proponents, and that encourages them to spread the word to others. As a coach, it's very interesting, as I have taught others to use the law of attraction. One of the most fascinating things about it is I learn more about it myself by teaching it. And oftentimes when I have people apply principles that I learn, the results are 20, 30, 100 times better than even what I experienced. A lot of times that is what I've noticed. And I have seen people applying these particular practices. And I've seen it so often that it is absolutely 100% the truth. I can give you hundreds of stories where I've had people change particular things about their environment, the way they think. The law of attraction has so many uses. It can be used to achieve your goals. It can be used to improve your financial situation. It can be used to get a promotion at work, and it can be used to find your soulmate. I have had multiple episodes of the Reality Revolution. I totally recommend you check them out. Prosperity Consciousness and the Health Revolution, the Love Revolution. The episodes talk about how you can find love, how you can find relationships, how you can improve your financial situation simply through the power of your thoughts. Indeed, the law of attraction is very powerful and useful. It can transform a person who is struggling with his career and who feels as if he can never experience success into a self-confident individual who's ready to accomplish his goals and will not let anything step in his way. So how should you use it? How can we use the law of attraction? Please listen to the many episodes, and that's what I'm learning. I'm constantly getting new ideas from people that I'm watching on YouTube, books that I'm reading. I'm getting new ideas all the time in my own practices, and I'm kind of adding them into an encyclopedia almost. It is so complex, so variated, so many different things. It is so fascinating. Once you embrace this and you see a tiny little bit of the way the law of attraction works, trying to manifest, and the word manifest is overused, but trying to have something come into your reality that's based on thought. And once you see it happen and it's undeniable for you, then everything will change. And you're going to start to look at the way that you think and do everything in your life. Once you start to understand that you're creating reality, you're also starting to understand the symbolism of your very actions. By doing something, you're symbolizing and you're creating an underlying thought. There's so much behind what you do and how you think that's creating what you're doing. So my first thing is start to think about abundance rather than scarcity. They seem very generic terms. For illustration's sake, consider these following situations and decide whether you have an abundance or scarcity mindset. Number one, you're deciding whether to help out a business associate with a new project that they have in mind. You know that it has potential to be successful, and you know that you can help them to implement it. But ultimately, you decide not to do it. You decide that a small part of your customer base overlaps with his, and you don't want to lose even a single customer to him. Or number two, you're deciding whether to start an affiliate program to promote your new product, but you're discouraged by the fact that you have never done this before. Instead of seeking out help, you decide that it probably won't work, and so you don't do it. Or number three, you just start a new business and you want to rent an office so that you have a place to send your employees. You know, it's a big risk, got to pay some rent. So instead of letting this bog you down, you refuse to view it as an obstacle and instead push forward, determined to make it work no matter how hard it may seem initially. Or number four, you're deciding whether to do something nice for your significant other. You know that you could make their life easier by doing a favor for them, but you ultimately decide not to. Instead, you decide to hold the offer so that you can offer to do it as a bargaining chip for something in exchange. These examples, you can see the difference between an abundance mindset and a scarcity mindset and the way it determines your actions. Can you see how the law of attraction directs you to think and behave in a way that will generate reciprocity and kindness from others? And furthermore, can you see how following the law of attraction directs you not to worry persistently about being taken advantage of, and not to live your life with the goal of extracting every last penny and favor from everyone else while doing nothing for them in return? These are important things to see and understand. So, imagine if all you did is sit and worry. If you were Jimi Hendrix, one of the greatest guitar player ever, but you believed you were no good because you're playing with the left hand on the right hand side, and there's not really any other music out there that sounds like it. And even though you kind of enjoy it, you just don't believe you're very good. And so you don't go audition, you don't go play in public, and then we never hear the beautiful music that Jimi Hendrix creates, because in his mind, if he didn't believe that he could do it. And a lot of people will make decisions based on underlying beliefs and thoughts, and it takes them away from their comfort zone. People don't want to break their comfort zone because of certain thoughts. When you really start to sit down and journal out and break down the underlying motivation behind your actions, you will start to understand how truly powerful your thoughts are beyond what you're currently aware of. We make decisions on a daily basis for all kinds of reasons, and a lot of times there are deep-seated beliefs that are guiding us that are actually working against us. Some people out there suggest you shouldn't worry about whether the law of attraction is working. You shouldn't worry whether thinking positively and maintaining an abundance mindset or a positive mindset generates better results for you. And I disagree. As with all things you do in life, business and personal, it's important to evaluate whether or not what you're doing has actually been done. It's not important to do this. You can refine your approach. But also, you can decide whether or not what you're doing is really working at all. This is true of the law of attraction, no matter what people tell you to the contrary. Now, at first you might see this as a contradiction. You might wonder how you can simultaneously be positive and believing while also maintaining a degree of skepticism. But in fact, it is entirely possible. Set yourself a trial period. For the people that are right out there that do not believe this, after everything that I've said, fine. I'm not telling you to believe anything that I'm saying. Give yourself a trial period of, say, 3 months. Commit yourself to following the law of attraction during that time. Take responsibility for your thoughts and your life. Take responsibility for everything in your life, just for 3 months. Just say, everything that's happened in my life is my own fault. You don't even have to believe it. Just start with that. During this trial period, don't let anything stand between you and your goals. Just think positively. Fake it until you make it if you have to, and focus on achieving these goals, rather than focusing on things that you can prevent you from achieving whatever that is. So during this trial period, adopt this abundance mindset, that there's more than enough customers to go around, that you can help, that don't worry about the winning every social interaction, and don't focus on extracting every last dollar from your customers, your business partners, and your friends. Behave as you would if you had already achieved your goals. If you were as wealthy, attractive, likable, and accomplished and intelligent as you wish to be, would you be scraping for every last dollar? Of course you wouldn't. And if you ever want to get there, you shouldn't behave this way either. So give yourself a trial period of 3 months. Put your all into it and see what happens. I guarantee that living abundantly, thinking positively and constructively, and giving to others without expecting something in return will transform your life, your business, your relationships in a positive way. It sounds simple. Why does it have to be complicated? But it still is, even with all of that. My own interpretation of the experience of the law of attraction is that you're also involving a probability field, usually based on quantum physics as our understanding. While everything is energy, also, usually the most probable thing will happen for particles in a particular vortex. So, if you want to manifest having no traffic on your drive, if you're living in Los Angeles and you want to drive to LA with no traffic, that's not going to happen because the probability is higher traffic. If you want to manifest that, you might want to live in another town. Whatever, the outside probability is also interfering or adjusting and affecting your own manifestation. You can overcome these probabilities over time. But to be cynical is the first thing that is bad. Especially when it comes to the law of attraction, many people make the mistake of believing that skepticism is bad. But in truth, there's nothing wrong with being skeptical. There's nothing wrong with thinking a deal through before we make it. And there's nothing wrong with wondering whether berries we picked in the forest are edible or poisonous. Skepticism is important and can keep us alive and improve how our business functions. But cynicism is an entirely different animal. And you know what I mean. If you're just cynical and you immediately don't believe, when we convince ourselves that nothing can be good, that it's impossible, that the world is just a bad place, that nothing can work out well, that everything in our lives is rigged against us. We're cynical against our government, our families, our jobs, our bosses. We cave into something that is very contrary to what we can have if we use the law of attraction. We forget trying to attract positive things into our lives through visualization and action, and we instead harp on the things that have gone wrong. So if you're serious about practicing just the basic rules of the law of attraction to achieve your goals, to mend and string the relationships or become successful in your business or work, then cynicism is the first thing that must go for the first 90 days, and it must replace it with an endless, persistent willingness to overcome challenges. What I've noticed is that part of the complexity and challenge of the law of attraction is people are usually rewarded the most for going right outside of their comfort zone. Right now, whoever's listening to this has a certain comfort zone in their lives. And going through that uncomfort zone, maybe it's a certain level of work or anxiety or nervousness or travel or something that you have to do. It's kind of uncomfortable temporarily. But you maybe are avoiding doing something that could really change your life, could really do something special for you, just because it's kind of uncomfortable. And there's that part of you that is willing just to give up great things because it's uncomfortable to go through the process of doing it. And so the people that are really rewarded have the deep belief that they can have these things and are willing to go to an uncomfortable place to do it. So for instance, if it's uncomfortable level 4, if you had to go to a 6 to achieve your goal, that's when I see oftentimes when people, you already created this reality. Your thoughts are already out there. And the reality's been created. And maybe you just never even got a chance to see it because you didn't go to that meeting. You didn't go to that place. You didn't actually give it a chance. You didn't give it a shot. You didn't go to the audition. You didn't send out your song. You didn't send out the book that you wanted to send out. I'm telling you, right now, everybody that can hear me, you can have anything that you want in your life if you're willing just to be a little tiny bit uncomfortable for a short period of time that you can move past. And if you're willing to be open to the probability matrix around you, and you continue to guide yourself along a journey of positivity and abundance in every sector of their lives, in health, wealth, and relationships, great things will start to happen. And I've talked a lot about Abraham Hicks on the Reality Revolution. Now, people that are listening to this for the first time and don't know who Abraham Hicks is, and if you've gotten this far, and the way I've tried to treat this as basic law of attraction, you should check out Abraham Hicks. She is an expert at the law of attraction and literally has access to very advanced information and knowledge that can be used. And according to Abraham, you can manifest something within, if you have a thought, that you hold it for at least 17 seconds. And the thing that is so powerful, it just becomes so much easier for us to spend time on things that we fear and that we worry about. It's easier for us to go through all of the scenarios in our mind as to what will happen. It's easier for us to push more energy towards that. Fear, those kind of energies are powerful and amplify the thoughts that you have. So imagine if you have 5,000 thoughts, the ones that are more powerful will also manifest easier. So what amplifies these thoughts are emotions and actions. The combination of emotions and actions is what truly empowers the law of attraction. If you just sit in a black room and think without ever leaving the room or feeling any emotion, it is very unlikely your thoughts will manifest, because then in many ways it's similar to a dream. And we have loopy, crazy things happening in our dreams. We're not seeing flying zebras in our reality from our dreams, because there is a disconnect in that brainwave state. And it's kind of like we have a separate area of our brain that allows for simulations and experimentation and creation that is not creative on a level of our mind. So, the first thing that I would have anybody do that is just learning about the law of attraction, that says, okay, I'll give it a try. I don't believe it, but I'll give it a try for 90 days. The first thing that I would say is take responsibility for everything that has happened in your life, even if you had nothing to do with it. If you were riding in a bus that had an accident, the driver was drunk or something, and you were in the back of the bus, assume that that was your fault. Assume that everything was your fault. Now, it may not be true, okay? I'm telling you that in terms of the law of attraction, if you take responsibility for your reality now, the process of that tends to adjust the way you think. Because once you take responsibility, you're much more cautious, even your subconscious is, about the kind of thoughts that you have. And this becomes powerful. And number 2, you have to let go of cynicism. It's okay to be skeptical, which we all are. But if your underlying belief system is cynicism, a belief that things don't work out, a belief that things will not work out, a conspiracy theory, something like that, a fear, an overriding thing that's not based on reality, then that cynicism will undermine any attempts that you make to utilize the law of attraction. Now, a lot of people have discussed the most powerful ways to use the law of attraction. And Neville Goddard is one of the best authors. And as many people have noticed, when they've really consciously tried to use the law of attraction, the most effective way to create your reality and have things happen to you on the outside, where you see miraculous things that you create in your mind that go beyond even your actions, is by combining positive visual thoughts of things that you want to happen in combination with feelings that are accurate. And the feeling tends to radiate out a frequency or vibration. The feeling itself seems to be the secret. If you are sitting and you want to hold on to a thought of something that you want to see, but you have to, if you see yourself, somebody else doing it, then you may see it on TV. So for instance, if you want to have $1 million of cash and you see a bag of $1 million, well, next thing you know, you're watching TV and they have a bag of $1 million that looks exactly like you manifested it, you saw it, it was part of your existence, but the money itself being in your possession to use yourself is not. And so the feeling of that, there is a feeling, there is a marker. Having $1 million would be so exciting. You would be jumping for joy. Your heart would be leaping. The feeling is very unique. And once you start to broadcast out this incredible feeling, you start to have things like attracting like frequencies and vibrations that are similar to that exciting feeling of suddenly having $1 million or winning a lottery. Why is it so difficult for lottery winners to manifest lottery winnings? Because that feeling is so unique. How do you recreate that feeling right now? So if you feel a feeling now about something, then it starts to happen in the future. You have to think backwards. You have to actually have the feeling of what it is you want now before it happens. And that when you broadcast that out, oh yeah, well, there's this lottery over here, or this house that you went over here, this crazy thing, whatever it is, your body starts moving towards situations on your timeline. A lot of times people in the law of attraction practitioners will talk about the law of attraction, and they will not really clearly explain how it works. And I think that's important. A lot of times I've had people and coached them, I've literally explained how it works. And sometimes the knowing of how it works against you. There is quantum physical explanations that your mind literally has the observer effect. If the double split experiment in quantum physics literally proves the law of attraction, that a single particle can change by the observer's observation of it, and it can collapse from wave to particle. I've talked about this in the quantum physics and consciousness episode, so give that one a shot. But basically, they shot a particle of light. They shot a particle of light through a slit. When they did it through two slits, the particle was able, if you were observing it, when it came through as a particle. But when you were not observing it, it came through as a wave. And they could tell by the way that the pattern on the back of the wall showed. So we started to fundamentally understand that our observations create reality in quantum physics. Also, as we start to understand that there may be multiple parallel realities that exist around us, and you don't need to, it doesn't matter to you, okay? But what's happening is you may not actually be creating something. You may be moving or guiding yourself towards a reality that already exists. In quantum physics, the idea is that time is not linear, that the future exists already and the past exists already. And so your mind, if it's accessed to all of these different dimensions and realities, knows there's a particular reality where this particular feeling happens. Okay? So I would also just tell you to not be concerned that how it works. Give it a try for 90 days and try to spend a little bit of time every day. You don't have to treat it as a meditation. If done in meditation, it sometimes is more effective. Try to sit and visualize something that you want to have in your life from your own perspective as if you're experiencing it already. It seems as if there's a three-dimensional mirror effect going on, and that has a delay. And so when you put out there an idea in your mind, and it seems like the mirror shows us a little bit later on something similar. It's almost as if the mirror is conscious and doesn't want to show us something exactly like what we were thinking about, because then it would be too easy for us to understand. It wants us to not know that it's a mirror. It's a mirror that doesn't want us to know that it's a mirror. It's fascinating, very interesting. And I've already gotten a little bit too advanced on this. But as a new practitioner of law of attraction, just set aside time during the day to do this. And you should start by spending several hours to clearly define your goals. Clearly define and understand what it is you actually want, because you don't want to start visualizing things when it's not within your wheelhouse, within what you truly want. What I have found also is that you're thinking with your mind and your heart. And your heart is more powerful than your mind. And when your heart and your mind are together, it seems to have this duplicitous, this powerful effect where it multiplies the power that you broadcast out. So you're not just thinking with your mind, you're thinking with your entire body, including your heart and all of the energy centers of your body. And when they're thinking in alignment, it seems as if there's greater power that you put out. So when you do this, when you spend several hours finding your goals, don't only think about getting a certain amount of money. Think mainly about how you'll use it. So you don't want to just be making money. You want to be able to make money to have vacations, to make your family's life better, to get the house that you always wanted. And so after you define these goals, you should spend maybe a half hour each day doing nothing other than focusing on these goals and visualizing them happening. A lot of my meditations on the Reality Revolution give you fun, different ways to do that. That's what I'm trying to do, is put you in a meditative state where your brain waves are in theta or in delta, and you're visualizing what it is that you want. That may seem excessive for a lot of people, 30 minutes a day. But in fact, it's a method that many professional athletes and very successful business people use on a regular basis. Once you've done this a few times, you will understand why it makes sense. You're going to start to see things happen in your life. Things are going to start to change. It helps you to focus your attention where it should be, namely on achieving your goals. It also helps you to walk through your goals carefully, step by step, through visualization. This is important as it will help you to form a very specific plan about how you can overcome problems and achieve goals, no matter how difficult they may seem. So now that I've established that you need to focus and visualize and have the feelings and try to create the feelings, a lot of times, even advanced students will come to me or other people that teach this. And the question is, how do I create a feeling? I can visualize something in my head, kinda. A lot of people really struggle with visualizing. But how do I create a feeling? And that is an absolutely very difficult question to understand. You can be feeling something similar. And when you're in a feeling that's very similar, you can try to broadcast out thoughts for the thing that you want that feels like that. But the more you can work on this, you start to create your body language, your posture. The more you work on this, try to work on what the feeling would be. Think about what it would feel like. Start asking yourself constantly, what would it feel like for that? What would it feel like for that? And when you ask that question, really be specific about what it feels like in your entire body, your stomach, your kidneys, your liver, your heart, your chest, your breathing. How would you be breathing? Your eyes. How is you holding your body? All the little things. What would it feel like? And everywhere. Make all of the details important. And it will help you to identify feelings and visualizations. So you can improve your focus and bolster your visualization as well. You can start by employing techniques that calm your nerves and improve your mindset and allow you to concentrate. Try this. Try burning some incense or a candle sometime. Pick a scent that kind of energizes you. And what that does is the next time you do it, you can have a reminder of how it felt before. And rather than dulling your senses or putting you to sleep, so it's some kind of scent that wakes you up, such as like peppermint or grapefruit or vanilla. And once the scent has filled the room, close your eyes and focus on your goals. Attempt to visualize how they'll happen and feel open to and accepting as they do. Or go and get a massage. A massage can loosen up your muscles and make you feel relaxed and calm. This will make it easy for you to focus your mind on only one thing, namely the process by which you'll achieve your goal. Or take a warm bath with dim lighting. This will put you in a quiet environment, away from people, where you can relax and focus. Concentrate your mind only on one goal at a time. Don't try to make a bunch of different ones at once. You then divide the power of each of those thoughts. Going into the probability field, it takes away any chances that it can subvert that probability field. Okay? Concentrate your mind on the goal. Now, fourth one is just practicing meditation. And one of the best techniques for focusing on one thought only is meditation. Learning how to meditate better will translate into better use of the law of attraction. I have an episode on how to meditate. There are some even better episodes all across the internet that you can find on how to meditate. And Dr. Joe Dispenza has some excellent descriptions in all of his books. I recommend his discussions of meditation. You can talk to anybody that practices yoga, and there's so many different fields of this, but it's something that you probably have already done. We all are living in this mind, and we get to know the way our mind works constantly. Closing our eyes every night we go to sleep, we do a little bit of it. So, but making that, becoming aware of your focus and visualization is a good thing to start with. A lot of times I get the question, how do I avoid bad thoughts? And as I said, cynicism can be destructive. It can prevent us from trying harder by convincing us that things are not possible. And it can prevent us from focusing on an idea and following through on it. For these reasons, it's important for us to keep bad, cynical thoughts away when we are truly attempting to practice the law of attraction. And I meet people that say, Brian, I can't control my thoughts. And I have seen this by very good people that say, you can't control your thoughts. I'm sorry, but you can control your thoughts. One way you can control your thoughts is by stating the thought out loud. You can say, I am happy. Notice when you say, I'm happy, you start to remember what happiness is. When you make phrases, you can create your thoughts. So that's one reason people do affirmations. And you may have thought those are ridiculous, but affirmations are a way of creating thoughts that you want to have. And you can use the power of affirmations when you have a bad thought. Repeat a positive opposite thought to what that thing is that you don't want. Repeat it 3 times to take away the power of that one thought. Hopefully that's enough. So if you find yourself reinforcing bad thoughts with more bad thoughts, you have to find some way to break free of the cycle. A lot of times it's more than one thought that's going on. Psychologists often suggest using cognitive behavioral therapy techniques in situations like this. One commonly suggested CBT technique, cognitive behavioral therapy, involves wearing an elastic band around your wrist. That's something I did, at the very beginning. And then when I had a bad thought, I would flick the band against my wrist. And so when you start to encounter negative thoughts, snap the elastic band. It's immediate physical feedback that can help you jolt your cycle of negative thoughts and begin to adjust or fix your attention on something else. Other techniques involve discontinuing what you're doing at the time completely and doing something else if you're starting to get into a train of bad thoughts. For instance, if you're in a cubicle at work and you're looking at a massive stack of papers, you might begin to feel depressed and overwhelmed. Instead of sitting there and staring at the papers, get up, take a quick break, grab a coffee, or talk to somebody in a nearby cubicle. This can break the cycle of negativity. Number 2, avoid places that generate bad thoughts. There are places that you go that bring bad thoughts. They have memories that are built into them. And in your day-to-day experiences, you've probably recognized that certain places cause these bad thoughts. Perhaps there was an event in the past, or you failed at something unexpectedly. Or perhaps something bad happened to you and your family. And whenever you pass by a certain place, you think of that bad thought. And so from now on, it's time to start pushing those places out of your life. If a place makes you sad and there is very little that you can do to overcome the sorrow, then don't visit it anymore. And if this is impossible, maybe consider moving. But at a minimum, try to avoid it. Take a different route to work. Avoid any place that can put you on the path to becoming increasingly negative. Number 3, carefully choose and maintain relationships. As Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich says, you become the 5 people that are closest to you. You become who your friends are. So do not be afraid. If you have friends who constantly degrade you and doubt your abilities or insult your ideas, it's time to let them go. They may be close to you for history, but it's time to make new friends. There are a lot of people get stuck with very negative people, and they have no choice but to live with them. And I understand that, and that's tough. But you don't have to let them affect you. And if you consciously make it to allow their vibration and negativity and to block that off, that's a good first step. A lot of people out there that I talk to, this is a big struggle. They have people in their life, and they have people in their lives with negative energy and vibrations. So find a way, because you can create your reality. And if you don't believe that you can move out of the situation, you're wrong. Find a way to get those people out of your life. That's what you got to do. It's rarely helped to have a cynic around you, somebody that's cynical, who can do nothing other than find hundreds of ways and to make your ideas fail. And it accomplishes nothing. And it prevents you from maintaining your positive thoughts. So from time to time, evaluate your relationships. Something that really helped me. Decide whether the friends you have chosen to associate yourself with are improving your life and reinforcing your success, or whether they are simply dragging you down. The law of attraction can be summarized with those 3 steps. Think deeply about what it is that you truly want most. Focus on that thing that you visualize and how you attract in your life. And be open and accepting of that thing that you want most, even if you initially subconsciously fear accomplishing it. Those are the 3 steps that will work the best. And find ways to snap out of bad thoughts. Avoid places that generate bad thoughts, and carefully choose and maintain your relationships along the way. You can use the law of attraction to find love. If you in your mind believe that you are not worthy of love, how are you going to go find love? That is the cynical thought. A lot of people, the number one reason they haven't gone out there and found love, they don't think they deserve it. They don't believe that they're attractive enough. They don't believe that they can have love. So a lot of times when I'm talking to somebody that's really desperately just wants to find love, the first thing is to find a way to love yourself. Once you believe in yourself, it's amazing the kind of love that you can find. And truly, the law of attraction, the easiest thing that you can use the law of attraction for to get the greatest results is in terms of relationships. There's so many possibilities. The probability field is much easier to manipulate. And so you can do a lot more by focusing on the loving aspect of yourself. And a lot of times, if you are not super specific, it is a lot easier. I meet a lot of people that want to find a specific person, and that is much more difficult because that person is also creating their own reality. You might be able to do it. It might work out, but it might not be a permanent situation. So I say, write out exactly what you want. Think about the joy and feeling of you would be in love with somebody, and then don't be too specific about what they look like or where they're from. Give the universe some different variables that it can play around with, and you will be shocked with the kind of people that you meet. It's really amazing. You can use this just for friendships, to overcome bad relationships. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. The law of attraction is probably most used for money. And just by having a prosperity mindset, it's amazing things begin to happen for you. And you may have beliefs deep down that you continue to believe that you were given at birth through your parents that have defined this world that we're in. You know, the crazy and sad thing is, by the time we start learning about the law of attraction, it feels like it's too late because we've been thinking thoughts for many years. A lot of people don't even start to become aware of it until they're in their 30s. Maybe their parents told them about it, but they didn't talk about it. And so they've been given all these beliefs and thoughts by then. And it's so frustrating because we don't get a chance to start building our reality at a young age. And that's what we should have the ability to do. But when you start to visualize money as if you own it in a power of abundance, that's when you really start to see the true power of the law of attraction. And that's what's so exciting about it. That's what's so exciting about it. So you can create partnerships. You can find the right workplace, right places to work. You have control over everything in your life, and you can start using the law of attraction in those ways. It is a truly phenomenal power. But the idea is your thoughts control your actions, and they determine the places that you go, the places that you visit, the kind of things that you do. And so it's amazing the world that you can have. It's interesting, since the law of attraction was really discussed in the modern era with The Secret, a lot of publishing houses just don't want to deal with it. And you go on Wikipedia and it says the law of attraction has been disproven. And it hasn't been disproven. The way that they're considering it is, if you think about something, if you visualize something, they say that you end up not doing it because you've already experienced it. It takes away your motivation. And this is so clearly not true. I've never seen this situation. Some of the studies that they're talking about, the studies are pretty unanimous on this. And so some people are starting to change it. They'll call it the law of resonance or the law of correspondence. And believe me when I tell you, as I've tried to explain in this episode, it is the single most powerful working principle in all of infinity. It is what is guiding the planets, the solar system, the galaxies, everything. It works in all realities of this universe, on all levels and at all times, in any number of variations, and in obvious and for the world's self. Sometimes it's not so obvious. If you understand one single thing about life, let it be this: there is no other thing that operates independently of what you believe. The law of attraction means like attracts like. You can only experience what you are. What you give is what you get. One kind of vibration attracts other types of like vibrations. Of course, we've heard birds of a feather flock together. What you put out is what comes back to you. If you want something in your life, anything, you have to be someone who corresponds to that. You notice vibratory correspondence every day. When you wake up in the morning and feel lousy and you begin the day lousy, you may experience further lousy events and mishaps throughout the day, almost like a wave. I've started to notice this more and more. If I stub my toe when I get out of bed, man, oh man, the next thing you know is something happens in the bathroom, the doorknob breaks, and it seems like one thing starts happening after. I've had this happen like several times where there is just a wave of bad things that happen one after another. And I've started to notice this wave, and I've broken it. And you can too. It seems to act with velocity. So if you understand anything, it's that like attracts life. And that is really important. And you notice how in general, the rich become richer all the time. You notice when people talk about sickness all the time, they fall ill. You notice when someone attacking another becomes attacked themselves. You notice it when somebody who is fascinated by horrifying things soon has things like that happening to them. You notice it when somebody gives up needing a partner and that partner suddenly shows up. And instead of corresponding to one, you are a powerful magnet attracting things according to who you are. So if you feel overweight, it is quite impossible to attract the ideal weight on a long-term basis, no matter how many diets you try. If you feel poor and you behave poorly, you cannot attract money. Understand, the law of attraction never sleeps. You may become a bit more interested in the quality of your emotions and reactions once you believe after these 90 days. Don't try to create something that's crazy if you're in your first 90 days. So if you say, I want to be president in the first 90 days, that's not going to happen because there's a part of you that knows that's not going to happen. Try to do something simple at first. You may be able to become president someday, but the vibratory level is much different. Imagine you're standing by a train and you would need to be at a certain speed to get on that train at the same time. So if the train goes by super fast, that's why you're not attracted to that vibration. Like attracts like. So, most things are not created or attracted intentionally, but are on automatic. And when you understand that, because that's what happens, we don't understand the rules of the game. So admitting to your responsibility, taking responsibility, it does not imply invalidating yourself. In fact, you are the only thing you have. And invalidating yourself is to invalidate life, the universe, and everything. It may have all begun with a tiny thought. Think about it. The whole universe could have began with a tiny thought. Whatever it is, you give that thought attention and it becomes a consideration. And then it becomes a normal sized thought. And it becomes bigger and accumulating all kinds of similar thoughts. This huge thought, when attracted emotions and energy, it becomes even bigger and starts interacting with people and events. In a positive and negative sense, the more you get of something, the more you get. Since infinity does not recognize anything to be negative, the way the world self means it, any experiences of value. A lot of times people try to put morality with the law of attraction. But understand the law of attraction is working without judgment. So it will help people that are criminals and it'll help people that are good. Now, a lot of times people that are criminals have underlying beliefs that control it, but there are psychopaths out there that are able to literally control their thoughts, that may have done terrible things, but they're still able to create their reality. Understand that it's still an effect on you. Not every small manifests immediately because it's neutralized by other thoughts before it's even born into magnetism. And even charged thoughts don't necessarily manifest soon because of the buffer of time experienced in this dimension of being. It is this buffer that allows for an extended period of sifting, choosing, considering, and deciding to get what you really intend to be manifested straight. A small thought indicates and opens the probability of a reality. Continue to focus or involve yourself with it. It will be your absolute reality, no matter what the current circumstance seems like. Basically speaking, consciousness creates everything you want and everything you don't want, whether you're aware of what you desire, resist, or not. This duality provides the balance in this dimension. Things you are neutral towards, neither desiring nor resisting, are not created or attracted. It is you doing the attracting and infinity doing the creating. Everything you're afraid of and everything you intend wholeheartedly would show up in your life sooner or later. Since most people's attracting, creating is chaotic and unstructured, most things do neutralize before they have any physical manifestations occur. On one-dimensional tone above ours, feelings and thoughts manifest immediately. On a physical level, there is a seeming time buffer in which a thought is first shot into infinity by an activating emotion. Then a time span takes place, and finally physical manifestation boomerangs back. What makes this whole process of reality creation confusing and nearly incomprehensible is that we send off so many different and contradictory intentions that we don't know which reality is the result of which intentions, and even forget that we ever sent them off. The process of the law of attraction is a two-way street. It does not only involve sending some wish list into the universe, but getting into correspondence and co-creation with infinity. It does not only contain a desiring, intending, or attracting part, but also an allowing, a receiving part that lets infinity create. It is the job of the world to intend. It is the job of you to intend, and the job of infinity to create, and then again, your job to allow or receive. You may have things that want to come into your life, but you're simply not allowing them. Allowing means being receptive enough not to try to create the reality yourself, but allow the magnificent intelligence of infinity to find a way to correspond with your vibratory signal, allowing what you intended to flow in. That is directly connected to your feeling of self-value and being happy and to be yourself independent of circumstances. It goes hand in hand with letting others be who they are, granting the same validity to be themselves and thus granting reality to be what it is. When you know you can attract whatever you want, you don't get upset about others and circumstances anymore. You're not here to repair what is broken. You're not here to convince others of your path. You're here to express your own path. It is not your job to force the world into conformity or sameness with you. Instead, you appreciate the diversity one can choose from. Rather than fighting others, you choose people who are you like being with. By fighting something, you make part of your world. Conformity is a stagnation. Diversity is creativity. Having two different opinions needn't be the cause of pain and struggle. It can be the cause of fascination and laughter. Working to get others to agree with your reality equals working on conformity and bringing the infinite unfolding of creation to an end rather than further expansion. Allowing validity to any viewpoint is paramount for the survival of the human species. If you don't grant freedom of speech to people you dislike, you don't grant freedom of speech at all. Allowing is even more than just tolerating, because tolerating still implies that you don't really appreciate whatever it is you tolerate. There's so many different aspects to this, and so many ways to understand. But a really good metaphor is that it's like a television set, and there's lots of channels, and they're already going, and they're already flowing, and you just are tuning into a particular channel when you tune in your thoughts. If you do it the right way, it works every single time. So, you have the power to create reality. And while it's complicated, there's many wonderful things you can do. Please give yourself an opportunity to look through many of the episodes of the Reality Revolution, where I go into an advanced level discussion of how this works. But at a minimum, understand that your feelings and your thoughts create reality, and you become what you think of most of the time. And if you take responsibility for your thoughts, incredible things will begin to happen. You have an incredible power inside of you. It is such a wonderful thing to be alive in this diverse and wonderful universe. And there are so many possibilities before you. And once you embrace that you have this power to attract the reality that you want into your life, everything changes. Whatever your situation is, believe me, if you start to understand the law of attraction and you make it your intention to use it in a positive and powerful way, great things will begin to happen for you. I really hope for those of you that have not explored the law of attraction, this episode gives you an inroads, a beginning point for you to explore the way that you've already created your reality and the things that you can do in the future to have an incredible reality for yourself. We will be talking about this so much more on so many other episodes, and we will be interviewing people that are master manifestors in the law of creation and the law of attraction. You can also look at advanced level studies of the law of attraction, such as reality transurfing and parallel reality surfing, which are things I discuss on other episodes. But in any case, I really hope that someone out there resonates with this message, that you can have whatever it is that you want. It's in your heart. It's right there. Embrace this great change in the universe and you can have it. Study it. Learn about the law of attraction. And once you do, your life will be changed forever. And all I want to say is, welcome to the Reality Revolution.